Hey there, I'm Amrita from Artria Jewelry, and today we are going to make some crystal heart pendants. I have these beautiful jade, rose quartz, and then this one tiny little amethyst heart. And I thought since it is February, let's make some wire heart pendants. And if you've not already watched the video of the copper hammered heart pendant, earrings, and adjustable ring, I will link it up in the cards and down in the description below. And I'm going to show you a couple of different ways to do this. Let's just pick out, maybe we'll do one of each of these. So we have 3 of these going, 3 different sizes, different colors, different materials. And as far as tools are concerned, it's my standard set of tools: a ruler, bent nose pliers, needle nose or tweezer nose pliers, 6-step looping pliers, flush cutters, and a metal file. For the first style, we're going to start with a really simple one, and I'm going to show you how you could take 2 lengths of 24 gauge wire and create a pendant out of a stone that has no holes in it. So I have 2 lengths of a foot each. When I'm doing something abstract like this, it's nicer to take a longer length, and then when you cut off the pieces, you can save them for other projects. We're going to line up the 2 wires and find the midpoint approximately. So that's approximately the midpoint. I'm going to hold it at the midpoint and separate my 2 wires and twist them 3 times. So I have 3 twists on this side. And I'm going to flip my wire over because I'm right-handed and I want to work with my dominant hand. I'm going to put this point through just to see how much of a gap I need, and that will hold the bead. Oops. And that will hold the stone in that gap. So I don't want it to be too wide. About that much. So maybe, let's see, that's about 1/4 inch for my stone. Do that. And I'm going to hold it firmly against my finger and wrap this side 3 times. So that's going to create a gap into which I can pop the stone. And that will anchor the stone in place when we wrap it the rest of the way around. That's how it's going to anchor our stone. Okay. And I'm going to hold the stone in place. You could use tape and tape that in place if that makes it easier. And then I'm going to bring the wires on either side of the first curve of the heart and then cross them over and twist. So I'm holding it in place and I'm going to twist 3 times. I'm going to twist it firmly so it holds the stone into that gap. And there we go. So that's one side attached. And now I'm going to again separate these 2 sides. And we kind of want the twist to be on the side of the heart like that. And then I'm going to cross them over, move these out of the way, cross them over, and twist 3 times. So at this point, I have created anchor points for the heart, one at the bottom, and we can adjust these to make it look, to make the wires sit a little prettier later. But basically now my stone is securely in that wire. So all that's left to do is twist this up and make a bail, and then we can adjust the wires later. So I am going to continue this twist up because I'd like a twisted bail. And so I'm going to hold these two and then twist them maybe about 1 inch in length. And I'm going to do the same with this other one. And this is 24 gauge wire, so it's relatively easy to do these twists. Take your time with it. And then I'm going to bring these wires into the center again and then twist these together. So there we go. And if you find it easier, you can twist the stone as you move your fingers up so the wires twist onto themselves. And so there, your heart is in there, securely in there. And now I'm going to see which side I want facing the front. So I want this side in the front, just because of the flex of the stone. I like that. I'm going to pull this wire toward me and use the third step of my looping pliers to hold the wire and then wrap it around that third step, make a loop, and then I'm going to hold this loop and wrap all the wires around themselves a couple of times. There we go. And then I'm going to snip the wires flush in the back and use my needle nose pliers to tuck them in, or you could use your bent nose too. But basically you want the wires to be tucked in so they don't catch anything. I'm going to snip them a little closer. I'm going to tuck it in. And then just run your fingers there, look at it, make sure all the wires are tucked in and that it doesn't catch anything. So now my pendant is ready, and I spend a few minutes just going over and, maybe straightening out any kinks. And if you want the curve to be more rounded, you could use a round surface like a pen to just do that, to rub that against the wire, and you get that to curve. We can do that with these ends too, curve them a little bit. And there we go, we have a beautiful little rose quartz heart done. Wasn't that easy? Very simple way to wrap a stone that has no holes. If you're enjoying this video so far, please like, share, and subscribe. And we will go into the next pendant, and we're going to use the jade heart for it. And we're going to use the similar technique, but change it up a little bit. For this one, we're going to use 20 gauge aluminum wire. We're going to cut ourselves about 8 inches of wire, and I'm going to have 2 lengths. And again, we're going to find that midpoint, so around the 4-inch mark. And I'm going to say 4 inches. And I'm going to go over a little over 1/4 inch to one side and wrap the wire 5 times. And then we're going to separate the wire, put the stone in. because we want to make sure we get the right size. And then I'm going to do another 5 wraps. And this is aluminum wire, so even though it's thicker than that 24 gauge copper wire, it's pretty soft. Now this was how we started the copper one too for the rose quartz. But what we're going to do different with this is, instead of having the wraps along the side of the heart, we're going to flip it. And so I'm going to stretch this out to have the heart go in this way and have the wrap through the middle of the heart like that. So we're going to have the heart held in the center. So that's how it's going to look a little different from this one. I'm going to continue twisting this one. And with this, I'm just going to make one bale and not use all the wires. So I'm going to twist this a little bit. I'm going to fold the front one toward the back and the back toward the front. And then with my nail holding the front in place, I'm just going to straighten it, because that's going to be the bale once we're done with this wrap. And then I'm going to wrap the back wire around the front one and then snip it off. And then make sure I tuck my wires in. So I have my heart anchored. Securely in there. And now I'm going to twist this some more, because I want the whole bale to have that twist. So that's about 1.5 inches. That's a little longer than we'll need, but we're going to cut it off anyway. And I'm going to fold this wire toward the front again. Use the third step of my looping pliers to make that loop around itself. And then hold the bale gently. This is aluminum wire, so you don't want to be too tough on it with your tools. And wrap my wires around. And I'm just adjusting the wires just to make sure it looks neat before I cut it off. And I want to see how much of a wrap I want. Do I want that knotted effect, or do I want it to look a little more elegant and dainty? I think I like the knotted top. And so I'm going to snip off these wires toward the back. And use my needle nose pliers to tuck them in. And there we have the second heart done. So those are 2 styles of the heart. What do you think? Do you like them? Which one is your favorite? Do you like this style with the copper wire, or the slightly heavier style with a thicker gauge aluminum wire? We're going to wrap this tiny amethyst heart. It has no holes, and it is about 1/2 inch in width and 1/2 inch in length. So I have with me about 2 feet of wire. I don't need the whole length. It would be might need about 1 foot, but I already had this pre-cut, so I'm just going to work off of that. I'm going to fold the wire in half and use the third step of my looping pliers to pre-make a bail. So I'm just going to wrap around that third step 3 times, so 1 on each direction, so it forms this coil of a bail. And then when it comes to the bottom, I'm going to cross it over and start twisting it. And that's the bail formed. So the idea is that we will have this pendant sit on the bail, and then we'll have the wires come up the front, and maybe this will make a 2-sided pendant. Let's see what you think. So if this is the back, that's how the back would look. One side would have those twists. So I'm just going to go one more length. I want to make sure that my twists are high enough to hold, long enough to hold the pendant. And then I'm going to hold the pendant to itself, to the wire, like that, and bring one side up and wrap it around the bail just once, just to get it secured. I'm going to bring the other side up, go across, and wrap that around the bail again. And so now we have our heart securely in its frame. We can play around with the placement of the wire a little bit. And then we'll wrap that a few more times and cut those wires off. So I'm going to snip this one. And tuck that wire in. And then wrap this around that the other way. Snip it off. And tuck that in as well. And then just adjust the bail to make sure it's facing forward. And if you feel like you have to go back in and kind of make it circular, you could do that. And then this is the third type of frame. So you have this 2 lines going up the front, and then you have a twisted back. So today we made 3 styles of wire wrapped hearts with no holes. And so these beautiful stones have been wrapped into pendants. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you in the next one. Have a beautiful day.